Let's focus on 3 different types of circulation now and go into detail on the vertebrate system. There are 3 types of circulatory systems: none, open, or closed. No circulatory system is found in very small, like microscopic animals, or animals with extremely high surface area, where gases and nutrients can distribute through diffusion. No special structures are needed. It would never break down and takes no energy. An example is this planarian, a flatworm. These animals can be large, but since they're so flat, they have tons of surface area for gas exchange and tons of surface area in their digestive system, so nutrients can easily diffuse throughout the body. The open circulatory system is found in small animals, around the size of insects. There's a heart to pump fluids and maybe some vessels, but the fluids just move around through a cavity. There are no vessels that make a circuit. Let's take a look at a Daphnia's heart. This animal is also known as the water flea. This is a Daphnia. This movement here is its legs moving, her legs. This is a girl. If you look right back here, there's the heart. The Daphnia's heart is just a little sac-like structure that pumps, and when it does, the fluids just kind of move around inside the body cavity of this animal. A closed circulatory system is usually found in larger animals, in general more than a few inches in length. There's a heart to pump fluids, as well as a full circuit of connected vessels. This closed system allows for blood pressure. Pressure allows the blood to travel farther, which is why it's found in larger animals. The vertebrate heart, of course, has evolved over time. If we look at a schematic of a fish heart, there are just 2 chambers, one atrium and one ventricle. The atrium collects the blood and holds it until the ventricle is ready. The ventricle is the pump. Fish have just one circuit for blood to follow. It's a closed circuit, so it does have blood pressure, but the pressure is low. When the heart pumps, the pressure is high, but whenever blood reaches a destination, gills or lungs or body cells, the pressure drops. Fish don't need high blood pressure because they don't have to withstand the same amount of gravity that land animals do. So blood is pumped to the gills where it picks up oxygen, and then it continues on out to the body to deliver that oxygen before returning to the heart. Amphibian hearts have to overcome the gravity on land. Blood gets pumped, goes out to the body cells to deliver oxygen, but the blood slows down at that point. The pressure drops, so the blood can't go to both the lungs and the body. It actually has to return to the heart to get pumped a second time. Each time that heart pumps, the pressure increases. When it travels to a destination, the pressure drops. The amphibian heart, though, is a bit of a mess. The oxygenated and deoxygenated blood mix a bit in the ventricle. Not entirely, though. More deoxygenated blood gets pumped out to the lungs, and more oxygenated blood gets pumped out to the body. The thing is, amphibians have multiple ways of getting oxygen, so it's not such a big deal. They can handle the inefficiency in oxygen levels because there are so many respiratory structures. Then there's mammal and bird circulation with a 4-chambered heart. There's no mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood like in the amphibians. We need a more efficient oxygen delivery system since mammals and birds are endothermic. If your body has to maintain a specific temperature, that uses a lot of energy. To make energy, you need oxygen. To make a lot of energy, you need a lot of oxygen. What about reptile hearts? What do you think? Reptile hearts have a partially divided ventricle. It's more efficient than the amphibians, mostly separating the oxygenated from deoxygenated blood. Reptiles need more efficiency because they only have their lungs for respiration. They can't use their skin to exchange gases, but their heart is not quite as efficient as birds and mammals since reptiles are ectothermic. They don't need that level of efficiency. Now we'll focus on mammalian heart anatomy. Let's draw. Okay, let's draw a heart. There we go. We're going to divide this heart almost in half. Sorry, it's really hard to use this tool. I can't get the other drawing equipment to work. There's a little flap up on this side and a little flap up on this side. So we have 4 chambers of the heart. This chamber, it would be like you're operating on somebody. So this would be the right side. This is the right atrium, and this is the right ventricle. This is the left ventricle and the left atrium. There's a vessel associated with each of these chambers. If you have blood from the body that returns to the heart, it's going to be in this vessel called the vena cava. I'm just going to abbreviate for now. This is deoxygenated blood, and it enters this right atrium and then down into the right ventricle. The ventricles are the pumps. So this ventricle is going to pump blood out to the lungs. Oops, you can't see that. Lungs. The blood picks up oxygen and returns to the left atrium. This is called, oh, I forgot to label this one. This one is the pulmonary artery, and this one is the pulmonary vein. The blood returning from the lungs is oxygenated. And this vessel actually leaves from here, but it's going to be kind of messy. This is the aorta. And it brings oxygenated blood back out to the body. This slide shows what we just drew, only with some clearer labels. You can pause to review if you wish. We mentioned arteries and veins when doing our drawing. What's the difference? Many people think that arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood. No, that's actually not the difference. The difference is that arteries leave the heart and veins return to the heart. Since arteries are leaving the heart and the heart is the pump, the pressure in the arteries is very high. They have to have a very thick vessel wall to withstand that high pressure. Look at this actual cross-section showing the difference in the walls of an artery and a vein. Veins return to the heart. from the destination, so the pressure is very low. Since the pressure is low, the blood is more affected by gravity. Your blood has a hard time returning from your toes back up to your heart. So most veins have these valves, little flaps inside the vessel. If the blood is flowing upwards, it can just travel through the valve. But if the blood starts to fall back down, it'll get stuck behind these flaps and the valve will close. Blood travels away from the heart through an artery. When it reaches a destination where it needs to move along cells or the alveoli, the vessels branch and branch into smaller and smaller vessels until the vessel wall is just one cell thick. Then gases and nutrients can diffuse through. These vessels are capillaries. After the blood has traveled around the destination, it continues on, combining into larger and larger vessels, reaching the veins that travel back to the heart. There are two circuits, one from the heart to the body cells, and one from the heart to the alveoli of the lungs. Blood includes red blood cells, which function to carry oxygen and carbon dioxide. Blood also contains sugars, amino acids, fatty acids, and vitamins and minerals from the digestive tract. There's also white blood cells and platelets, water, hormones, etc. The cells are all made in the bone marrow. What germ layer does bone grow from? And what germ layer does the circulatory system grow from? Both grow from the mesoderm.